We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. We are so excited to be in the podcast studio today. Dane is back with us.
Oh, yeah.
Dane,
so good to be back.
We talked a lot of crap about Dane while he was gone.
Yeah.
Well, it's all getting edited out.
We're jealous. I think we're just jealous. You're living too good of a life.
Well, I feel like I just copied you. The whole
No.
Like
I was not in New Zealand for 2 weeks when I was 25 years old.
Okay. In so many ways. Like 4 times a year, I'll text you and you'll be like, yeah, sorry, I'm in Maui right now. But I can do that next week.
Yeah, but Maui's
not.
It's
way closer.
It is. What's better, Maui or New Zealand? New Zealand takes a lot longer to get to New Zealand.
There's no better.
New Zealand took a lot longer, but everything was half off, which is awesome.
Oh, it was cheap?
Mike, you'll love this. Yeah. Everything.
Are you saying I'm cheap?
No. I love it because of like the trading in other countries' currencies. Anyways, everything costs the same number of dollars as it does here, but it's in like monopoly money, the New Zealand dollar. Sorry for any New Zealand, it's a real dollar. But,
it's not called the monopoly money
no,
in
it's
New
just
Zealand.
New Zealand dollars, and it's worth 60 cents to the dollar of. The American
so we
dollar.
get a 40% discount on
everything.
everything.
Just 40% off.
Should we buy some real estate over there?
So sweet.
I
had a surfer bum, like no idea that I was in real estate, and we were just like talking at dinner one time, and I said something about like the exchange rate because he was from the States, and he was like, yeah, I mean, if I knew better, I'd buy a bunch of real estate over here. City limits.
Yes.
Hey, there's
would.
a podcast. Here's my Instagram handle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to kick it off. We're going to have an episode here where we're going to talk about making your first million. Why is it so hard to make your first $1 million in cash or equity or just either?
Net worth, I think.
Just net worth of $1 million. And why once you get there, it really doesn't mean very much.
What's better for you? $1 million in cash or $1 million in equity?
Ooh.
$1 million in cash.
What?
It's because you're responsible.
That's not what Ray Dalio says.
But the cash is fake.
What if you had $1 million
I guess
cash
the equity is too.
dropped in your lap at 20?
$1 million cash at 20?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd kill myself.
Yeah.
I would have put it in the S&P.
Because you're smart, right? Like it's all relative.
We're not all
Also,
Trevor
cash isn't
GPT.
better.
Did you say the S&P?
Ray Dalio says cash is trash.
Oh, S&P.
I thought Grant Cardone said that. Did he steal that from Ray?
He had to have stolen it.
Oh my God.
Oh, he did. Yeah, actually. Wait. No, that's Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins. That's what I'm thinking of.
I said that at the Corvallis investor meetup. I said cash is trash, and everybody looked at me like, "What?" I thought that's what we're here to do is try to
Look,
get
you don't want to sit on $1 million cash, but if you offered me you can have $1 million equity or $1 million cash, I would take the cash.
Not if the equity was in a
invest it.
building that you know that you can push another $1 million
Okay.
appreciation into in the next 18
But
months.
I could just take that $1 million cash and go do that.
Could you? You might not find that
Not
deal.
as quickly. You might have to wait a year.
Because if you're the one that taught me that having enough cash is a myth. Because as soon as you have enough, you go find a deal you like better than having the cash.
If you just said here's $1 million of equity, one deal,
$1 million.
$1 million bucks.
That's off black. It's not gray.
or $1 million cash, you take the cash and then you go invest it. You
Yeah,
just
in a
don't.
vacuum, it's a no-brainer decision. Cash is more better. It's liquid.
It's mo better.
Mo better. Mo better.
We're recording this a little earlier in the day than normal, so
You know, I know on that kind of vein, I know a lot of people that they intentionally invest every penny they have so they feel poor and they don't have anything.
oh, that's a Grant Cardone thing too.
Yeah.
Stay broke.
Stay broke.
It's been
Dude,
working.
you sound wow. Stay broke. Say that again.
Am I channeling my Grant Cardone?
Yes.
Stay broke.
Yeah, I've done that. Invested every single
yeah.
penny.
You've stayed
And-
broke?
and then a little bit more that I didn't have
Yeah.
too.
Was it a good idea?
Over the long run, yeah, but it kind of sucks in the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to rein it in. So I'm Gabe Johansson here with Dane McKinney, Mike Nuss, Trevor Howard, all four of us in the studio today. Dane finally came back from New Zealand so we can have some fun again. We actually had a lot of fun without you because we talked crap about you, but now you're back. We miss you. We love you. You can never leave again, or we're going to have to go record this in New Zealand.
Okay, or Hawaii.
Okay, so we're going to talk about why is it so hard to make your first million?
Yeah.
Dane's going to lead us.
Clarity here.
Because he's trying.
It's interesting for me. Because I have not done that yet. Yeah. Why is it so hard to make it first?
What do you mean? You're 25 years old. You haven't done it yet?
Well, yeah, but I'm surrounded by people that have done it a couple times over. And
Let's start this out. Let's reframe it instead of so hard to important. Why is it so important to make?
Is it important?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
mean,
I think it is. I think it. Here's kind of what I've seen, and it's fresh off the ego episode that we recorded. I think it's important for your ego to strengthen it, to calm it down, to calm you down, to get past that stupid barrier that the world puts on us.
Because it's just a number.
It's just a number. But it's an important number. I think, though, once you kind of get closer to it, people start getting smart. Like in the real estate world, it's not about getting your first million. It's about your first million in debt, your first 5 million. It's more of it. You see it in a different light the closer you get to that. And again, it's becoming a different person. So right now, you've never had it. You're not a millionaire. You want to be a millionaire. But as you go along, your mindset is significantly further ahead than most people because who you're surrounded with. Yeah. But it changes. Your perception of $1 million changes.
So I think that's what will happen. Maybe. I don't think my perception of myself is going to change very much at all.
No.
Which is what Trevor, when I first met him, like mentioned his goals throughout the years and how you didn't even really know when you became a millionaire. Like you were already.
Oh no, I did. Those were my goals. I was tracking it.
There was one that you were like, oh, now I'm at 2 and like didn't.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't matter once you hit it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I thought I'd feel something different,
Yeah.
and then I was like,
What did you feel? What did you feel?
I felt nothing.
Yeah.
I was just like, well,
That
now
number looks bigger than the last number I saw.
Here's
needed a new goal.
Did you feel more free or more successful or more like now we can aim bigger or what? What went through your head?
Checked it off the list.
So what did you celebrate? Did you buy yourself something cool or go on a trip or do anything neat?
No, I haven't been like you and bought a watch when I've hit any metrics.
Well, you're not into watches.
Start doing that,
what
though.
What are you into? Oh, you want to run 100 miles. I made my $1 million. I'm going to go run 100 miles. That's my celebration.
See the right guy to ask? Should we ask someone with emotion?
Emotion. Don't be mean to Trevor.
No, I don't think any of you guys felt anything.
We gave him a
hit it.
spreadsheet on emotion. He's working on it right now. He's analyzing.
Because here's my take, and I haven't done it yet, but I've spent enough time around you and talking about spiritual principles of real estate.
Oh, we did a whole episode without you on spiritual principles.
Oh, that hurts.
Wait till you hear
It does
that.
hurt.
We did that just to be mean
I have
to you.
to edit it and feel left out. So my take is that to Gabe's question, which is why is it so hard to make your first $1 million? I think that it's because you are not yet following one of the principles, which is be relaxed around money. If you're not relaxed around money, it's going to run away from you. If you're relaxed around money, that's when it starts coming towards you.
Doesn't it sound like a lot? Doesn't $1 million sound like a lot? Like when you don't have $1 million. To you, Dane, does it sound like a lot?
It sounds like a lot of anything other than dollars because I spend a lot of time around you guys.
Okay.
So like conceptually.
So
and also,
to our listeners, they're thinking
it's
like
so much money. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who's listening, but to a lot of people, I'm sure $1 million still sounds like a lot.
No question. And I think the problem too is that when you're in real estate, you get numb to it because I'm constantly looking at and offering on properties with you guys that are, $5 to $10 million. And so I just get numb to what that means. When in reality, like if it were all mine, it would be a whole different story.
Yeah.
But I'm just numb to big numbers now.
Yeah, you're just around it too much. It's funny. I going back to my flipping episode. I don't remember what episode that was, but go back and listen to me. Before I ever made $1 million, I went and lost $2 million.
Wait, you weren't a millionaire before you did that?
No, I was like worth 50 grand or something. I wasn't a millionaire. No, I might have been worth more. I was definitely not a millionaire by then.
Wow.
And what it taught me to lose the money was a great lesson because it taught me that $1 million is not that much money.
Yeah.
I solved the problem. I solved a $2 million problem And actually, that's one of the things that helped me become a millionaire is because, like you're saying,
Yeah.
in my mind, it was now not so insurmountable. This was actually a very achievable goal.
Do you think that that's part of what? Well, it had to have been. That's part of what relaxed you around money was once you had realized that you could pay off $2 million over some.
But I'll tell you what, paying it off was not relaxing.
That's So then there was nothing that could.
But it was a very, very hard problem to solve in a very difficult time of my life, and it just led me to realize that. As a matter of fact, laying in bed, it made me realize, like when I said, "Is $1 million even important?"
Yeah.
I would lay in bed at night and I couldn't sleep, and I would think to myself, if I had $1 million, would I trade it right now for 8 hours of sleep? And my answer was yes. So literally, 8 hours of sleep one night was worth more to me at that point in my life than $1 million.
Whoa. How much do you think you're sleeping?
I would get like maybe an hour or two a night before I'd wake up in cold sweats and
then
like
kind of
fry an
fall
egg
back
on
to
your
sleep.
chest, sort of. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd stay up all night grinding it out, thinking through how I was going to solve all these problems. Like literally 18 months. I mean, you get sleep deprived, you start thinking some weird stuff. It's like I say this at every meetup or everything I talk. I always say, like, whatever you're doing. I told Mike the first time we went to lunch, he said, you guys asked the question, how do you know when you're not going hard enough or you're going too hard?
Yeah.
And I said, if you're not getting your sleep at night, you're going you went too far.
Yeah.
That's my barometer, because like,
I remember that.
to me, like, feeling good, we can have all the money in the world, but if we feel like shit and we have poor health, nothing's going to make you feel crappier than not sleeping for 18 months. Yeah. This is how they torture people. You can get people to do all sorts of weird stuff by keeping them up. You don't even have to like you don't have to cut their fingers off or hang them upside down or do anything. You just have to
let them sleep.
Just put them in a room with a bright light and some noise, and don't let them sleep for a few days, and they'll just they'll do whatever you want them to do. Yeah, it's a torture technique. It's horrible for your brain. I think it took decades off my life, to be honest with you. Hopefully not. I'm trying to get it back now.
Yeah. Trevor, I think you're like the best example of how it changed you, because you didn't go from like major debt to, you just went from super, super frugal to having the money, making a lot of money, and then
I planned my way
equity.
out to $1 million. I was trying to get there as quick as possible, so I was trying to make as much cash as possible, spend none of it, and invest all of it.
It did, and it worked.
And it worked.
Do you think at the time you were like stressed around, I don't want to say stressed around cash, but just like, I mean, you were tight, like you were super frugal.
I watched every penny. Like, I would not waste $1.
But were you stressful, or were you just
No, that's just
anal?
how I was anal about it.
Yeah.
And it was like, I didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Were you fun to be around?
Is he fun to be around now?
For me, yeah, maybe not for the average Joe.
I think so, because my fun at that time, because I became a millionaire when I was 25, right?
Yeah.
So I was working on it for like 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have something to live up to here,
I've
Dave.
got time.
No, you're 23.
When's your
24?
birthday?
I'm 25.
Oh, you're 25?
Yeah.
But see, the problem or not the problem.
There's a problem.
No,
There's your
there's lots of
problem, Dane.
problems with Dane.
Let's tell Dane what his
Yeah,
problem
tell
is.
me what my problem is.
So Dane's goal isn't even going to be to go to $1 million. Like, he's going to be
He's already
past that.
He's already way past that. He's already
past it.
And I want to say something about that. I think that is super important. Before I had anything, I remember telling my friends coming out of the car business, we all went to a movie one night, did like this guy's night out, and we're sitting there, and I told them, I said, I'm going to be a millionaire. And they're all kind of look at me funny. And I'm like, all you have to do is look like a millionaire, act like a millionaire, and hang out with millionaires, and you'll become a millionaire. And they looked at me like I was messed up in the brain. They thought there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
All you do is just say, I'm going to do it, and then hang out with people that do it and go figure it out and do it. Like, it's really, I mean, but the first deal is the hardest deal. The first million is the hardest million. Mm-hmm. What happens, and I think this is why I think it's important. If I look at a balance sheet and I go like, okay, I made $1 million. Okay, that doesn't, like Trevor said, it doesn't do anything, right? Mm-hmm. But it's still an important milestone to hit, because after that, everything becomes easier. What you're missing in that first million that you're not missing in the next 100 million is the formula.
Yeah.
And you're not the person yet. Like, in your brain and in your being, you're not a millionaire yet. You want to be, but you have to start doing the things that millionaires do if you want to be a millionaire. And that's why you're not a millionaire yet, is because you're going to be. I mean, that's the funny thing about Dane is like we already know where this is going, but you're just young and you're just getting started. But it's going to happen quickly, and then you're going to go like, okay, is it cool? Does it feel different?
No.
So Dane did a great job of saying why it's important is because to get relaxed around money.
Yeah.
Because that changes everything. And then the other thing about like millionaires, it's just a stupid measurement, and everything's a different measurement. Like how do you get to $1 million? So before I would have considered myself a millionaire, if I look back now by how some people judge themselves, I had a company that did, $800,000 in revenue. I was a millionaire. I didn't have $1 million in cash. I didn't have $1 million in equity, but how you measure it.
You had a company worth.
I had a company worth $1 million. I didn't even consider
revenue
it at the time.
I wouldn't.
EBITDA. Trevor's going to run a spreadsheet on your business now. It depends on the business.
I reject that.
I got the tax returns to prove it somewhere.
No, he rejects your valuation.
Your valuation.
What's your multiple? Well, you don't know what kind of company it is. Real estate company.
It was a service-based company.
It was a service-based.
Doing 800 in revenue, so 400 grand in profit.
Yeah.
It was worth 400 grand.
No, dude, this was like 2005 and 6. That's like a 3x, 1.2.
Were you working in the business?
Partially.
It's worth 200 grand.
See? Stupid measurements. Doesn't matter. It's like how many units? How many, at the end of the day.
Did you want to be a millionaire? Was that a goal when you started doing business?
No, again, my thing's always been life oriented. Money's a byproduct of that. Or that's a byproduct of creating wealth, I think. And so that's what has always motivated me.
Did you relax more around money once you were a millionaire? Or did it make any difference to you?
I've kind of always been relaxed around money. It comes and goes, and
it does go.
You don't have nights. You don't have sleepless nights over not going to be enough money.
I don't dwell. Like, here's the other thing. My brain's kind of like a numbers machine, so shit's just always running through it. I'm always running. If I'm stressed, it comes up as just non-stop cash flow projections in my brain, like almost like a double checking of what's going on. And so
does that calm you down?
Yeah, I think it probably does. It's probably my brain's.
It's like a meditative state of, okay, I'm going to run the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
What if you're running numbers and they don't work out? Like you can't figure out how to make them work. Does that stress you out more?
Yeah, that's why it doesn't stop. Is because then you rerun it. Well, did I account for that?
That's what I found myself in a loop. Yeah. Like I had a problem I couldn't solve.
Yep.
It was like a puzzle and it was missing a piece and I couldn't find the piece, and my brain, it was like, even though like in my heart I was like, it's going to be okay. Nobody's trying to kill me. No one's trying to put me in jail.
Yeah.
It's just I got to solve this problem, and even if like I don't pay somebody back or I foreclose on a property or like you can solve money issues are probably some of the easiest life problems to solve. For me though, it's just about the only thing that stresses me out. All of the rest of life is easy for me to relax around, but for some reason with money, like if there's not enough. I think I think there's going to be a problem because I want to make sure everybody gets paid back. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Like I don't.
So does that mean okay? So you care, but does that mean you don't have ease around money? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would say for me, I don't have a natural relaxation around money the way you're talking about it. For me, it has to be more of a every day something will come up that stresses me out about money. And to be honest with you, after I became a millionaire, I probably stress more about money now than I did before I was.
Because you had something to lose?
No. I mean, the stakes are just so much higher.
Is that a byproduct of money, or is that a byproduct of responsibility?
It might be. I think that I feel like I thrive on responsibility, but it's, there's so many things that go wrong every day. Like yesterday, I'm up in Astoria. We're walking this big, beautiful project that we're building, and everything is wonderful. And my property manager pulls me aside and says, "Hey, we got a problem at this other building." What's that? Well, on Friday night, a big sewer line blew out. And I'm like, "Oh, really? How much did that cost?" "Oh, it was $9,000. "Oh, okay." And she goes, "But that's not the problem. The problem is the whole building has plumbing like that. We got to go through and start replacing all these other leaks and all these other things that we found." And I'm like, So you're standing there in one moment going like,
Awesome.
it's a beautiful sunny day. We're standing on the river, watching the big barges go by, looking at this big crown jewel, the biggest thing we've ever owned or built. And everything is going wonderful now on that same project I talked about going bad for 15 months. This was our trip to go up and go like, this is a fun trip. And while I'm literally standing at that property enjoying that moment, I get the plumbing news.
Yeah, it's Mary Poppins. You got the
in
Mary
that moment. I mean, Mary Poppins?
Yeah, spoonful of sugar helps
medicine go down. Oh.
Do you think that's just because you buy crappy buildings because you like high leverage and want to buy everything?
Trevor, leave the room. Yeah, well, we could
inspect it.
The type of
you know what?
Would
my inspector have told me that sewer line was going to go out on a Friday night? I don't know. I bought the building 4 years ago. He probably wouldn't have known that was coming. I don't know. We buy old buildings. We should only buy brand new buildings.
No. I'm just asking. Don't.
So we'll go back and relax about. So I had a really similar day the other day. I started the day. I told my 17-year-old, I was like, "This is gonna be. I've been working 30 years for this day." And it was an amazing day. It started out by signing the sale of a property that was $150,000 loss. That was the start of my best day ever.
Wow.
Like,
wait, go back. You're saying when you made your first million, or what are you saying right now?
He's
no,
talking about
like
last week.
Oh, last week.
Last week he lost 150.
And this was the start of what?
That day.
It was the best day of his life in 30
years.
Yeah,
it was the best. Like, I prepared for 30 years for that day. And then I had a conversation with my daughter around it, which is, well, how did I prepare for it? Well, relax around money because I'm about to go fucking write a $150,000 check to sell a house. Okay, that sucks.
Is this a house flip you were doing?
It's a long ass story. It was I had to sue a dispensary, a regional dispensary. They didn't perform on.
They
their
didn't give
lease.
you enough THC in the weeds you were buying.
They didn't perform on a lease, and values plummeted, and but it is life, right? So you're just prepared for that. So you relax around that and you celebrate the $150,000 loss, and then the rest of the day.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, you're in the position to be able to take that and just go on with your day.
Yeah, well, it's just a plan, right? You just plan. It's money. It's the easiest thing to hear.
Well, the money comes and goes. We talked about that in our money the movie review we did, where it's like water, right? It comes, it goes, and I think the thought is we have to build up a dam somewhere so we can keep some of it. It doesn't all flow out.
Yeah. So that's where and again, going back to the importance of making your first million. So then you realize you need way more than $1 million, because if you just have $1 million, you don't get Mary Poppins movement.
It would take so much to do Trevor's plan and just go make money and count every penny to save up $1 million.
Yeah,
I think that would be a really hard way to make your first.
It's
million.
the expansion that allows the easier for the waves to come in and go in. And that's why I think Mary Poppins is such a great analogy. Is you have to have something good to offset the bad. And if it's too small, your ratios aren't going to be good.
Wait a second, Trevor and Dane, do you know what Mary Poppins is?
It's some Disney movie, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to do a movie review on Mary Poppins?
So I think making $1 million, it was important for me because it just showed me I could accomplish a goal that I set.
But you didn't make $1 million in cash. You made $1 million in cash and equity combined.
In cash and equity combined, my net worth.
So let me ask you, what in that first $1 million, how much of it was cash and how much was equity?
I had like $300,000 cash at that time,
and $700 equity.
And
which one was easier to make, the $300 or the $700?
The $700.
Like way easier or a little bit easier?
It was probably way easier. If I think about how many hours it took me, it was way.
Because you had to go out and toil and labor for $300,000. The $700,000, you just put your name on some buildings and they went up in value. You move the rents.
Yeah. So to give people like a picture of how it happened. So I was buying houses, right? Then I started buying fourplexes, and then I had to buy maybe 32 units or so that I owned part of.
All plexes and houses at
all
that point.
plexes and houses. Well, one of them was a 16 unit, but I was minority in it, so not a huge deal. And then I just waited 3 years. So I bought as much as I could, as fast as I could, and I waited, and I caught a wave in a market. So as part of it was luck.
Yeah.
And then I made as much money as I could, and then I didn't spend anything at all.
Okay. So a combination of good and smart investing, catching a wave, And
I was guaranteed to get there. I didn't know what time frame, but I would have. I was guaranteed to do it.
So in that time, so I would imagine, do you relax around money?
Now I'm pretty relaxed around money.
You weren't then counting every penny?
I was counting every penny because I was trying to get. I had a bigger purpose of I wanted to quit my job because I hated it. So I was trying to free myself up in life, and I thought this.
It gave you some good motivation.
Yeah, so I was a cash flow investor first, and then I hit that goal, and I was like, "This is great." And then I wanted to become a millionaire because I thought
sounds cool.
Sounds cool. Yeah.
How you had 32 doors before you were a millionaire?
I think it was something like
that. You know what's funny for me is I did miss the moment that I think by the time I looked down to see what my net worth was, I was at 2 million, but it was because I was looking for cash flow. And the day that I realized I was a millionaire, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Like what I wanted was like $5,000 a month in passive income so that I didn't hate my job, but I wanted to relieve the pressure off of me having to go out and drum up deals and broker deals. And I felt like if I could just have $5,000 a month, that would sort of like give me a base, and I wouldn't feel I would be able to relax around money. That was actually my number. My number wasn't 1 million or 2 million or 100 million. My number was $5,000. That's what I felt like I needed to relax around money. By the time I got there, I looked down and I saw that. I was like, oh, and now you can go work this equity. I'm like, oops.
Only 30 grand.
I mean, I'm glad I did it, but I did it for the wrong reason. Yeah. I don't know. I think I was probably about around 30-ish doors. Also about there, yeah.
What's safer, cash flow or equity?
Well, safer in what way? Safer in like, oh my God, tomorrow we got to write a check, or safer in they keep printing money and my cash is going down in value?
It depends.
For retirement or for
I'm trying to think. My brain was going somewhere, but
it depends. Like, so if you have no cash flow and you have all this equity, but you can't tap it, and then your building breaks and you can't pay for it, then you lose it.
Well, and this is the model. We kind of live on equity, and we want to be able to refi and pull money out when needed. But then when the banks stop lending, your piggy bank, the door to the piggy bank closes. Like you can't go get the money anymore. So the equity, sometimes you can sell a refi in 2 seconds. It's easy. Very, real estate's not very liquid, but a couple of years ago, it was like, I could probably have that money in 30 days if I needed it, right? Now today, it's like, oh, I need to sell something and go get the money. Well, if you own 1 to 4 unit, and you're in a decent market and you got a decent building, you can probably turn it into cash relatively quick, maybe 60, 90 days. But you own 5+ or you own a commercial building, it's a lot harder to turn.
Especially if you've been trying to get a loan.
I think you got to figure out what the goal is.
Yeah, well, that's where I was going with it, was like, Gabe, it sounds like and feels like you needed a level of safety that came through cash flow before you were concerned about wealth.
Yeah, I was just looking. I mean, I think like most people, when you talk about wealth and you talk about long term, people sort of glaze over because they're not in a position yet in life where like the base is covered, right? Like everybody's still sort of in survival mode. Like, hey, that's really cool that you made a lot of equity, but I need money because I have to feed my family and I got to pay my mortgage and I want a nicer car and I want to go to New Zealand for 2 weeks. I mean, people, I think the average person, and maybe I'm stereotyping, but I think that average people don't even think about money in terms of wealth. Yeah. They think about just, I need enough money in my bank account to live the lifestyle I want to live.
And that's the other important part of making your first million, because once you do that, you realize it's not enough. You go meet with the financial planner, you're like, okay, you got $1 million, you get a 5% return, you get a $50,000 income. And meanwhile, you were making 200, 300, 400 to get to the million. You're like, oh, I need 5 or 6 million. And so then everything changes in that scenario. The other part is then when you realize, well, okay, cash flow is just a byproduct of wealth. And then you can start focusing on, I need wealth to get cash flow. And this is what I really don't like about your generation. I'm just going to call you guys out right now.
Trevor and Dane, not me.
Trevor and Dane, not...
I'll tell you what I don't like about
it's
your
generation.
Hey,
it's arbitrage. This is what I hate about social media, is there are so many strategies that get pimped out as this cash flow, that, and none of it's sustainable. Because there's no equity, there's no wealth. It's based on something.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's because of the generation.
Like no down seller financing, right? So you go get your no down 10 years of 0% financing. You got okay, you have no wealth. You paid too much money to get that financing in 10 years. There's no wealth. Your cash flow's gone, right? So it was a short term.
I love that
solution.
Deal. I don't know what you.
I would do that deal.
I would do.
Do you have one?
Well, if it appreciates, sure. But what if you, in order to get that financing to make it cash flow, you paid 150% of what it's worth, or 120, and it only appreciates so much.
That's okay.
And so, but people
You just have to hang on long enough,
stop
Mike.
fucking arguing with me, Gabe. You're a ninja. Most people aren't ninjas, okay?
I'm not trying to
Guys,
argue.
if you find a zero down deal, buy it. Don't listen to Mike.
In
No.
fairness to Mike too, I do
Call Deal
think, I
Junkies.
do think
We'll
that
help
it's
you.
okay for us to buy it right now. I don't think that it's okay for the
Average
normal
person.
people on Instagram to buy it.
You need
and
to
there are a ton of
understand
get rich
if your
quick
cash flow
schemes.
is sustainable. And there's a lot of people that have no clue that their cash flow that they say is cash flow is not there, or it's not sustainable, or has a shelf life, and it doesn't actually create wealth.
So this reminds me of, I talked about my two mentors, Brian Miles and Paul Curley, and they live on opposite ends of the spectrum. So Brian was like, pay cash for everything, pay everything off really quick, focus on cash flow. Paul was like, no, they're printing too much money, just leverage into everything, buy everything. So if you look at Paul and Brian today, in my opinion, Paul is correct, but Paul is 74, living by the seat of his pants on the edge, trying to hold everything together. And Brian is like 62, and he just spent 3 months in Italy. Now, so which one is the right way? I guess it depends on your definition of success and what you need to relax around money. And Paul could care less about the cash because he feels like it's fake and he wants to own buildings. But then you own the buildings and they take cash, and then you got to go find that cash. And if you're just constantly growing and building and hoarding, you're always going to suck up that cash all the time. You're never going to have enough cash ever. Now, if you do like what Trevor was doing or what Brian was doing, where they were very conservative and paid down their mortgages. Now, Brian lives a lifestyle. If you looked at the two on paper or on social media, you'd go like, dude, I want Brian's life. Like Brian retired when he's 60 years old, has a great retirement, plenty of money, probably, he doesn't have to worry about anything. But if you got a screw loose like I do and Paul does, we'd be like, 3 months in Italy? I hope they have some deals to buy because I'm going to get bored.
I was going to say, I think the barometer is the best thing. Like the 8 hours of sleep. Paul can get 8 hours doing what he's doing, and Brian gets 8 hours doing
so they're both right.
Brian gets
Yeah.
12.
Neither
They're
of them-
both right.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, Paul would get like 18 if he was doing what Brian was doing. He'd wake up depressed. Like, that's why. So it's like Paul can't do that, and Brian can't do what Paul's doing because that's just not who
Not the way he's wired.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I think there's probably a middle ground there somewhere, where you can have enough cash to sort of relax a little bit and still go out and be crazy and do deals.
I have a question, Dane. So, is your goal to become a millionaire? Or are you thinking past that, or what are you?
No.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, not I don't know that I have a goal. My goal, frankly, has always been to be able to take care of my entire family.
Don't you have a really big family?
Well, my blood relatives
Okay.
and their spouses. And so my brother, my sister.
You couldn't get in the NFL, so you
There.
decided to do real estate.
Yeah, I was like, well, have you seen Wes Welker? We're the same build, and they're like, yeah, but he's actually athletic. So it was like a weird. I don't
Why do you want to take care of your whole family?
know.
Are they?
Close. No, they don't need it. That was just like that's
I'm
always
confused.
been my
Your dad
driver.
has lots of money.
I mean, my dad's doing well, but it's like he's doing really well, really, really well for somebody who came from a like small cotton farming town in West Texas that didn't know what money was.
So you want to take care of them by putting them on a private jet.
Well, that wouldn't hurt. Yeah, I want to be able to make sure that they are always as comfortable as we were when I was growing up, and I don't think
Isn't that already set though? Like,
no.
don't they have investments?
Well, not for my brother and sister, and
Gotcha.
that's and like my nieces and nephews.
Okay.
And like that's the frame that I think of it through. Where like, okay, if I find out that this is like a weird, but if like I find out that one of my nieces or nephews is like really sick, I don't want that to be something that, because both of my brother and sister work just day jobs, and like that, my brother is immensely happy. Like he loves working with his hands now that he's doing it, and he's been doing that for 2 years. He was in accounting. It drove him insane, and so that's awesome for him. But if something really bad comes up, I want to be able to take care of them if my parents aren't here, right? Because right now it'd be a blend, but stuff like that is like, that's what worried me. It was never that like I would be able to take care of myself, and I knew that I could take care of myself, but I wanted to make sure that I could take care of the people that I cared about.
I saw a billboard once for a college. It was an ad, and it had a picture of a guy on it, and the words said, "Be the eccentric rich relative you always wish you had." I was like, that's the best ad I've ever seen.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
No, and I probably am.
Yeah, so
Eccentric.
Yo, kinda.
I love these things because they make you think different ways. So, like society loves to measure success for us, usually money, something like that, right? Shouldn't success be measured by authenticity? Like, isn't that how you get relative to, like, Paul and Brian, for example? They're
Being
both-
true to yourself.
Yes.
Figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
And doing what it is that makes you. I mean, I do believe that you want to feel fulfilled and you want to have a rich life. To be honest, like we're out doing deals all the time, and I like doing the deals because I'm doing it with these guys. Like, I mean, I like hanging out with these guys. To me, I've already won. That's the end game for me, is I'm a make friends and have fun guy, and I'm making friends and I'm having fun. And so it just happens to be that what brings us all together is deals. And so it's like it could be something else, I suppose, that brings us all together, but we're all deal junkies. And so having that camaraderie and having that community and even going to the meetups and the whole thing, like just I love real estate people. Like I came out of the car business 20 years and I just kind of felt like you just don't have a wonderful interaction with folks. And some of the people that are surrounding that industry are not the kind of people you'd want to hang out with all the time. And in real estate, I just feel like you do get people that are not, they're a little unsavory at times. But for the most part, I would say in general, I was blown away when I got into real estate and I started having the calls with investors and talking to people and going to coffee and stuff. And I'm like, these are the salt of the earth best people I've ever met in my life. And I think one of the reasons is they were relaxed around money. They had built wealth. They had nothing to prove. They didn't have to be an asshole to me. And most successful people want to help you become successful. And I was like, this is amazing. Like I felt like I died and went to heaven. It was awesome. So I don't know, if you haven't been in other industries and you just got straight into real estate, you may not appreciate what the real estate community does.
It's a completely different mindset to build wealth in real estate than it is in the car world.
Yeah, you don't build wealth in the car world. You grind it out 12 hours a day, 6 days a week to make enough to like go blow it on video poker and, strippers or whatever. I mean, like it's just not a good industry all around. Like the people buying the cars shouldn't be buying the cars for the most part. The people selling the cars should probably be doing something else. There's a lot of, I don't know. I mean, the car business might be different today than it was when I was in it, but it was.
I'm not hopeful.
It was just, I don't know. It just kind of feels like a dirty business to me.
So let's answer the question. Why is it so hard to make your first million? That's what we were trying to.
Well, I think the answer for me is that I had to wrap my brain around what a million was. And if it feels like it's too big and you can never get there, then you're never going to get there. If you want to be a millionaire, I think you have to start thinking like a millionaire, acting like a millionaire. We've talked about the habits of successful people. We want to do a show on that. And I think that if you really study what successful people do, like you walk into their house, you're not going to find 18 TVs. You're going to find bookshelves. I mean, it's just simple things. You're going to find people like that are doing positive things. They're not at the clubs on Saturday night. They're running 100 miles. I mean, look at you guys. Like you're not. When I was 25, 27 years old, like I was out trying to burn the town down. Like, I mean, I was not like, oh, I'm going to go train with a coach and run 100 miles, or I'm going to go to New Zealand for 2 weeks.
Trevor is fun. You just don't give him credit.
Trevor is a lot of fun.
So I think it's hard for people because they don't have delayed gratification, and then they don't have a plan, and then they don't actually believe they can do it. Anyone can become a millionaire, buy any house right now, and wait 20 years. And you're done.
Yeah, but you would never wait 20 years or pay off
Becoming a millionaire is only hard if you don't actually make the decision to become a millionaire. So usually people dream about it and they want it and they desire it, but they don't make a decision to do it.
It's not a big enough dream.
That's a great, yeah.
I think that for me, the magic happened when I realized I want to go higher than this. Like anytime.
Well, is it even a money thing? For you, I don't hear a guy who gets driven by money. You may think about it.
I like to have money, like anybody.
You
would.
do, yeah, but
but it's not the main motivator.
You're an enigma because you talk about money a lot and wealth, and you like watches and cars and all that shit. But the words you use are not transactional at all.
No, you can take it all away, and I'm still happy.
Yeah.
As long as I get to hang out with you guys.
So, is it a number thing, or is it just
it's a byproduct.
Do you have numbers and goals and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just said, okay, everyone go set a 1-year goal, 3-year goal. We're going to go have a big all-day meeting today to talk about this crap.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll fall asleep. So,
whoa. I need you invested in this.
What you're going to get from me is not probably what you're expecting. So, I'm a very visual guy, and I think I'm like, I'm not as cool as Dane where I want to take care of my family, although I do take care of my family. I want my family to be able to take care of themselves. I don't want to take away the ability for them to go out and do what I did, because I think going out and figuring out how to do it is the fun part. I'm not saying you're doing anything bad.
I think you're right.
I think I want to be the safety net for my family.
So that's exactly what I was.
But I don't want to handicap them.
I want to be the safety blanket, and I don't even want them to know.
Yeah,
that's
I want. It's like just know. Yeah, nobody in my family is ever going to be homeless.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's peace of mind for you,
and that's not what got me here. I'm a selfish guy. I think my motives were number one, I was just in survival mode, and I wanted to figure out how to pay my bills like everybody else. That's how we kind of set off on that path.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about being wealthy is more just like when I realized there's a formula to do it, and it's fun. Like, I want to do deals because they're fun, not because it adds more numbers to my balance sheet. I know that sounds wrong.
Yeah, I was sitting next to a guy. I hate and this isn't a reflection of anything you said, I don't like it when people point to their kids and they say, "This is my why." I don't agree with that at all, because I don't think it's just like $1 million. It's not big.
I want my kids to go out and I want everybody to be able out and go do what we do. It's one of the reasons we do this podcast. I want everybody who's interested in this to go do it, because doing it is the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Getting there is just like, it's the journey that's so much fun. Once you get there, to be honest with you, every goal I ever hit, I get depressed. I'm like,
I need a new one.
When Trevor found out he's a millionaire, what did he do? Nothing. He didn't even take himself to dinner or something. He was just like, "Oh, I'm a millionaire. Then what? Now we got to go make 2." It doesn't mean
created a new Excel sheet.
But once you get there, now you have the formula. Now you have the mindset. Maybe you're relaxed around money. Maybe you're not. But the reality is that from there, now you can decide. Wealth can do some amazing things for you and your family. Like, there's a reason why everybody wants to have more wealth. So do good things with it.
Yeah. No, and my goal did evolve from that. And I think that's frankly what made you and or like people in general, I think that's what makes them go from being kind of stressed around money, or even being like limited in their mindset of how much they can make, is deciding that they want to do something bigger than just take care of themselves. And so when it was like, okay, I want to be able to take care of, I want to be able to know myself that my family has a safety net, even if they don't know it, even if they don't think that I would pay for something in that scenario. I know that was part of it. And then it became like, okay, I have had so many opportunities that other people haven't had. Who else can I give those opportunities to? And so education's part of that. I wanted to Teach for America when I was in college, which got shut down because of COVID, for the record. Well, my opportunity too got shut down. Other people were already doing it.
You could still do it.
No, I know. I still could, but now there's no reason. Yeah, that's gone. I've got bigger. There's bigger and better things to do right now.
You're teaching something else now.
The idea was just that I could help take care of other people in a bunch of different ways. And so that was the driver, whether it was the business that you were building, taking care of your employees. And it was you created an environment for other people to thrive. And that's what, I assume part of what drives you is that
well, I think I wish I was more altruistic and doing things for a higher purpose, which I think hopefully I'm helping people. I want to help people. But the reality is for me, when you ask where I set the goal, it's well, you told me I had to set a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, and all this crap, and I can't think that one through. So I just say, I want to be a billionaire one day, because that's the biggest number I can think of in my little brain. And then it's okay, well, what do we got to do to go become a billionaire? It's not even really for me. If I'm going to hit milestones along the way, then yeah, maybe when I hit a certain point, I'll buy a house in Maui, or maybe we'll buy a private jet or whatever. I mean, and that'll just be like, oh, I remember when we made our first 100 million, we got a private jet. Cool. Yeah. And then guess what? We're going to be like, should we go do something fun in the jet? No, let's fly over here and look at a deal because we want to buy another deal. Why? Do we need another private jet? No, we already got one. Maybe we get a bigger one. Maybe we can get a yacht. Maybe, I mean, the toys and the money, like once you have enough money to support yourself and your family, I think is the point. Does anybody need to be a billionaire? I don't need to be a billionaire to be happy.
No.
But it's just, this is what I'm going to do. And I'd rather go off and do good things in the world and become a billionaire than do what I used to do and go sit around and play video games. And well, I still do that sometimes.
Well, and that's what you just said. You want to go off and do good things in the world.
Yeah. I want to be a productive member of society. I don't want to go out and, for me in my brain, I'm a one-track mind. And so I'm going to go out and do bad things. Like I have an appetite for destruction. So you give me too much money, and there's a reason I didn't have money 20 years ago. Like, I mean, I was almost dead anyway. Like that would have just put the nail in the coffin. Money would not have been a good thing for me. I was not ready for it. Mm-hmm. You have to become ready for it before it comes.
Yeah, there's different phases.
So why does it matter to become a millionaire?
Well, it seems to matter to a lot of people. I think it's just because they think like what you were saying, like, oh, I hate my life or I hate my job or I hate whatever, and I think that money is going to change it. Well, maybe. I mean, it might give you the freedom to go make some decisions around that, to go, I think for most people, their existence of I go to work and I get my paycheck and I pay my bills and there's just a little bit left over and I'm sick of the rat race and I don't want to be this wheel in the cog or whatever you say, right? Like I want to break free of that. There's an amount of freedom that comes with wealth that we undervalue. We don't talk about it a whole lot because now we've had it for a little while and we maybe don't remember what it felt like to have the shackles on. And so I think that it just comes down to being able to make decisions. If you're a happy person, we've talked about this already. If you're a happy person and you make a lot of money, you're probably just going to be happier. If you're a mean person or a sad person, you're probably just going to be more mean or more sad. It's just going to exaggerate where you're at. So you got to figure out how to be happy and have gratitude around, we live in America. Like even if you got a 9-to-5 and you're barely getting by, you're still doing better than most of the world. So to be able to be, young and healthy and, to have all these blessings in life is an amazing place to be. If you can become rich doing it, that's awesome too. And then you decide what you want to do with the money. I mean, that's up to you. Take care of your family or go sit in another country for a year, do whatever you want.
Yeah, I agree with all that. No, I was gonna say, because I don't think that it necessarily is freeing to have a lot of money for some people, and I don't think that in the way that, like, if that's their goal,
it adds a lot of responsibility to your life.
It does, and I think that in reality, the happiness and the freedom comes from action and taking on the responsibility that you perceive yourself to have. Essentially,
the most freeing thing you can have is no money and no responsibility. Mike Tyson talks about this. He said the most free he ever was is when he was broke. As soon as he had all the millions, now he had all of these things to worry about that he didn't have to worry about before.
I think that if you don't know what to do with it, then that's true. I think that in the position that you're in right now, where you know exactly what you're going to do with it, and you don't have any cash, but you have equity, it's freeing for you. And it's freeing and it makes you happy because you're taking the actions that you wanted to take. And for a lot of people, like, making a bunch of money isn't the thing that's going to make them happy, isn't the thing that's going to make them feel free or good about life. Do you guys not agree with that?
No, it's a purpose. I was sitting next to a guy last night who just sold his company, and it's funny hanging out with him because everyone that comes up to him, it's like a known thing. This guy just won. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And he has these answers, vague answers. Consulting. But he comes out, and if you actually grill him, he says, I have a lot of purpose in my life, so I'm not really worried about it. Right? So it's not about money. It's, I have a lot of ways that I'm still going to impact the world. I sold a company. That impact is now gone, but I have so many other ways to impact it. So you have to have a purpose behind it.
So the other thing is too, as you talk about, like $1 million, it's not going to make you financially free, and it's not going to make your family financially free. I think a lot of people think that number. It's like, the game show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It's like, well, that's a good start.
It's not gonna do.
It's not going to do it. And so the whole go to school, get a job, 401k, whatever, it doesn't work anymore. And they talk about, there's more people today that have $1 million in their 401k than ever before. It's like, well, good for them, because by the time they retire, that is not going to get you very far. So $1 million's a good start. You probably want to get there, especially if you ever want to retire, which I don't. So that's a weird thing. Why are we making so much money if we don't want to retire? Do you want to retire?
No, heavens no. I mean, I already kind of act like I am. But,
that's the answer right there. If you already feel like you're retired, you're doing the right thing.
I'm doing the thing that I enjoy. I wake up and I'm excited about. That was the difference in framework, was when I was killing bed bugs. Oh my goodness. I'd wake up and it was like, I do not want to go to Sweet Home today. I don't want to drive out there, sit in a 200-degree room. And now when I wake up, it's like, today's going to be a good day.
Yeah, you had some pain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't have
to contrast your new life.
It was just I had to figure out the thing that I wanted to do. And I think the reason that it's so hard is because people don't change their framework. Originally my framework was that I had to go and build up a book of business and finance, or build a bed bug business to go then save all this equity here. And it was no, you just got to go do something that you really, really enjoy doing, that you're not capped at. I think that's why it's so hard for a lot of people. If you can be capped, then the $1 million, because then all that's going to happen is you're going to see the number of dollars you make every year go up, and you're going to spend more dollars.
Yeah, so the answer is don't put a number on it like that. That's one of the things I don't like about the 1 year, 5 year, 10-year goal is, for me, I'm afraid that I will set my sights too low.
Sure.
It's not that I'm too lazy to do it. I feel like if we do all the things and take all the right steps, that this could work out better than what my imagination can think of right now. Yeah. And I don't want to box myself.
The other thing I wrote down was I don't like putting a number on it, because I like games without rules. It's the finite game, right? So baseball, it has a time. Life doesn't need to have a number, because the rules are what you make them. It's your game.
Yeah. The rules are what you make them. I think that we should wrap it up in a second.
Yeah.
I don't think that you like games that don't have rules. I think that you like games that have really, really complex rules that you understand and other people don't.
That's a fair assessment.
Because that's not the same thing.
So is money the scorecard? Is that how we keep score?
Yeah, it's not my scorecard.
But it's the world's scorecard?
Oh, sure.
That's the problem in my mind. Yeah.
So you don't like games without rules because then everybody can cheat. But when there's a game with really complex rules, then you get to make everybody else feel like you're cheating.
Boundaries are important. Boundaries are super important.
I just hate that, because I hate games.
I want to be able to move them.
Oh, well, it kind of looked like you did. No, we said that, because my brain can't do that. It fires me up so bad. I'm so competitive.
All right.
You guys made Trevor fall asleep.
Yeah.
No. Secret formula to become a millionaire: spend less, make more, invest the difference. And that's how you do it.
Just buy real estate. Buy real estate. Everybody listening, don't pay attention to anything else we say except this. Buy real estate.
Especially that 0 down deal Mike was talking about.
That was a good deal. I want to do that deal.
You guys are so bad for my stories.
All right, guys. It's been fun. Please share Deal Junkies with your friends. We'd love to have more listeners. We're getting good feedback. I think people are getting something good out of this, so we're going to keep doing it. And we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.